Good afternoon from Los Angeles. It's Alyssa Corman, Ken Shreve reporting to you live from our newsroom, and we have a look at the stock market today. On today's show, we're taking a look at financials, which took another beating today. Also, Nike, Verizon, and a gold play. But first, let's take a look at the major indexes. It was quite a bloodbath today. The Nasdaq finishing down 2.5%, closing at session lows. We also have the S&P 500 down 1.9% today, and the Dow finishing down 1.8% today. So pretty heavy losses, although we have come up really far in this rally.
Yeah, and we had seen some sort of mild distribution days in the S&P
Right.
500 and NASDAQ headed into today, and today was unequivocal distribution or institutional selling. But yeah, the session started off, there was some weak manufacturing data out of Europe, and of course the slowing growth in Europe has been well documented. But then the bond market started to have a lot of problems, and the 10-year Treasury yield plunged again. Remember, it plunged Wednesday after the Fed came out with a very dovish statement. They lowered their growth forecast for U.S. economic growth, and so we had a big plunge in the 10-year yield Wednesday, and another big plunge today. At last check, it was down about 10 basis points to 2.44%. So now there's fears of an inverted yield curve, and if that is predicting some sort of recession, maybe a year from now. Either way, it's a market that's worried about slowing growth, not only in Europe, but domestically as well.
Right, and even though the loss day pretty big, the Nasdaq still holding well above its 200-day line for now. But as you said, we are now seeing distribution. So what should investors be looking for next?
Yeah, I think it's an important point that, I mean, there really was not a lot of technical damage done to the market today. The Russell 2000 had a very rough day, down 3.3%. It recently got resistance at its 200-day moving average, and then it actually plunged below the 50-day today. So there was some technical damage done to the Russell. But
small caps,
and you look at the NASDAQ chart, a bearish session today, but it had been up several sessions in a row. So we'll just have to see where this goes. What investors need to know now is that, institutional investors were definitely selling stock today, and it's really time to, take a look at your current holdings, and if you've got some, some nice gains maybe that are approaching 15 or 20%, don't be afraid to take profits. And if you have some stocks that just aren't working, you bought them and they've just been kind of flailing around, not doing much, don't have much patience with them, especially if they're kind of top-rated growth stocks, and they can be vulnerable if the market starts to sell off.
That's right. And financial stocks getting hit hard today. We're going to be looking at the Select Sector Spider Financial ETF XLF, down about 2.8% in heavy volume today. And by the look of it, financial stocks have been lagging in this market uptrend, especially when you compare that to the strength that we've seen out of the tech sector. Yeah,
I mean, absolutely. They've been lagging quite a bit. So, and XLF, we can take a look at a chart here, extending losses. It was down for, I think, the fourth straight session today. Of course, financials were weak Wednesday after the Fed came out with their very dovish statement. But yeah, top-weighted holdings in the XLF. You've got JP Morgan in the Dow, Bank of America, Wells Fargo, Citigroup, all ended with losses of 3 to 4% today. So financials not where you want to be right now.
That's right. And also out of the apparel space, we have Nike shares down some 6.6% today in heavy volume. Technical damage for this chart. Nike had been extending gains after a cup with handle breakout, but now breaching a key level. We have flat earnings and sales growth of just 7%. A slowdown did beat analyst expectations, but the guidance here for Nike not too positive.
Well, there were a few things in Nike's report. Obviously, the North American sales were a little bit disappointing, having a little bit of problem with their Converse brand, but growth in let's see, Europe, Middle East, Africa doing pretty well. China still showing good momentum there. So it was really a story of slightly disappointing North American sales. Pretty bearish action for the stock, a break of the 50-day moving average in very heavy volume. That is almost always a sell signal. So for those that bought Nike maybe around $80 a share when it initially broke out, you probably got a sell signal today. You may still have a small gain in the stock, but big sellers in the stock today, and definitely a sell signal for Nike.
That's right. And Verizon shares on the upside, gaining 2.5% and above average turnover here. It's approaching old highs from a consolidation from November, and Verizon holding up, bucking the downtrend today.
Yeah, I mean, we talked negatively about Nike in the Dow. We had to find a Dow stock that was
Right.
looking pretty good, and really Verizon stood out like a sore thumb today. Closed near its session high, big percentage gain, better than 2.5%, I think, and just building the right side of a little base here, approaching its prior high of 61.58. No news that I could see on Verizon, but it is a great dividend-paying stock with a yield of 4.1%. So this is actually, could try to break out here in a tape that's looking a little bit weak right now.
Yeah, that 4.1% yield definitely compelling there. And let's also take a look at Kirkland Lake Gold, which has been a member of the IBD 50, showing strong gains since breaking out of a consolidation in December. This stock finding support at its 50-day line, rebounding up 1.3% today.
Yeah, growth stocks lagged pretty badly today. Not surprising when the Russell 2000
Right.
was down more than 3%, and tech stocks, as measured by the Nasdaq Composite, also down sharply. But Kirkland Lake, one of the few bright spots in the IBD 50. In fact, Scott Latonen wrote about Kirkland Lake in Sector Leaders. It's right on the homepage of investors.com right now, so you read a little bit more about Kirkland Lake. But nice breakout for this stock. I think it was back in November, December last year, and it's just kind of getting support at its 10-week moving average for the first time. And
so that's an opportunity to add shares?
Yeah, it's an opportunity to add shares, and gold stocks, wouldn't be surprised to see gold stocks acting pretty well as a defensive play in a weak market. So you can see Kirkland Gold up, I think it extended its winning streak to 4 sessions today, and good support at the 50-day moving average and 10-week line as well.
Definitely a standout here. All right, everyone, thank you so much for joining us today on this Friday. We hope you had a great week. And before we sign off, we want to let you know that it is MarketSmith Free Access Week next week. So make sure you definitely check that out. A lot of great features that, this is the time. If you haven't checked out MarketSmith yet, now is the time to do it.
Yeah, I mean, I use MarketSmith all the time, and we look through growth screens there to decide what sort of stocks we're writing about, and the MarketSmith Growth 250 has got a lot of great stocks in there, so it's a great screening tool, great charting tool as well.
Yeah, and just in time for Free Access Week, we actually had an update to our Stock Ideas feature on MarketSmith as well. So a lot of great screens to check out.
Pattern recognition, see which stocks are breaking out on any given day, sort growth screens by volume percent change, biggest percentage gainers. There's a whole bunch of stuff you can do.
That is. All right, everyone. So make sure you head to marketsmith.investors.com to check that out all week, next week beginning March 25th. Thanks so much for joining us today, and head to investors.com for all the latest stock news and analysis, and for all of our features from IBD Weekly now on the web. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you back here Monday.